This is Andy Purewal for Boxing Social in association with Betfred, and the first man I've interviewed at a press conference and with my handheld mic is delighted to be joined by me, I'd like to say, but unfortunately it's the other way around. I'm delighted to be joined by Sam Jones here at the first press conference for Boxing's return. Sam, first and foremost, how are you doing?
Iconic moment. I feel quite special. no, it's good. Yeah, I'm good. It's good to be back, isn't it? It's a good location as well, so looking forward to today.
Obviously, there's been a lot of kind of hunger from the boxing fans for boxing return. We saw it the other week with Brad Foster versus James Beach, but now we're getting ready for your man Joe Joyce to return. Just talk to me about Joe's preparations ahead of his bout with Whyte.
Well, Joe was originally probably going to have a run out a little bit later on, but the opportunity presented itself for Joe to get out, and so it's an opportunity we wanted to take with both hands, and Joe is importantly. But I think we got like 5 weeks' notice. But Joe, being the athlete he is, he's ready to go.
Talk about Michael, and what exactly do you know about him, and what should we expect from him come Saturday night?
The first thing is he's bigger than what BoxRec says he was. You can see him over there. He's like 6'5". He's a bit bigger than what the BoxRec said. I thought he said he was 6'3". But yeah.
What do you know about him style-wise, and what should we expect from a pair of Joe and Michael when we're in the ring on Saturday night?
He's big. No, but he's got that traditional like European style with the high guard. I think he comes forward. I think he's going to listen. It's the biggest opportunity of his life. If he's not going to come and lie down, he's going to come and have a go at Joe. And after he saw the bookies odds against John Dubois, I bet he thinks Joe's a journeyman. So why not?
I know obviously Joe and Daniel will both be looking towards about after their fights coming up in the coming weeks, but is there this added pressure now for both of them to be successful in their bats to make sure that fight isn't kind of going to go sideways?
It's more swing for both, isn't it? It's Joe and Daniel both heading into the biggest fight of their lives against one another, so there's no slip-ups.
Who do you feel there's more pressure on though going into their bouts?
There's more pressure on Daniel. There's always more pressure on Daniel because he's the huge bookie's favourite.
What do you make of Daniel's opponent, Eric?
He's a very good fighter. I know him from. I'm just saying. I know him from the GB. He came to spar the GB guys. He's got a lot of experience. He beat Tony Oka twice in the amateurs. He's not a mug.
If obviously everything goes to plan, is October kind of at that confirmed date, or is he still kind of?
October 24th is what we're working towards, and until the powers that be tell us otherwise, that's the date that Joe's going to fight Daniel Dubois.
Now we know that everybody's going to be here today. Are you expecting Daniel and Joe to kind of have not just their own words, but maybe getting a little closer than what we would have imagined during these socially distanced times?
I would think they're both going to behave themselves today, especially with the bulletproof glass that Ben's putting up over there. But listen, I think Joe and Daniel are probably sick of the sight of each other and sick of being asked questions about one another, and they just want to get in the ring and fight.
Now I know that ahead of this fight, Joe's done some preparing with Martin Bacoli, who's obviously looked after by your good friend Billy Nelson.
William Nelson from Airdrie. Yeah, mate, that was great sparring. Bacoli's a great fighter, and Joe had fun sparring. You know what I mean? It was a really fun spar. I mean, Coogan Cassius came to watch it. It was amazing, mate. A great, amazing spar, it really was.
I saw Coogan's tweet that it was a brilliant spar. Would he obviously, without having seen that spar, would it have been something that you'd have considered putting on down the line, a fight between Martin and Joe?
I've always said, Andy, for thousands of times, especially to Billy Nelson, the fight against Bacoli doesn't make sense right now, financially, and nobody knows Bacoli. They still don't. Now, that's not to say Bacoli's not a good fight, which is what people get it twisted. Bacoli's an excellent fighter, and you can hear me saying that. Excellent fighter. Would cause anybody problems. But right now, the fight doesn't make any sense. But as soon as the fight makes it, Joe's always said to me from the get-go, make fights that the fans want. The fans don't want it right now. The fans, it doesn't make enough money. It doesn't bring a big gate in. But when it does, if it does, let's go.
What was your interactions with Billy Nelson like on the day?
All good fun, mate. Listen, I respect Billy. He's been in the boxing game for decades. So I've got respect for Billy, and I also admire how he puts the miles in. It was a 900-mile trip to come and spar Joe with Bacoli, so you can only respect that.
A couple of fights, obviously, just want to touch on in the heavyweight division before we move on to Lerone Richards and obviously Guido Vianello. In fact, start with Guido. Obviously, his fight being postponed because of his opponent testing for COVID. Just how gutted were you for Guido?
I was gutted for Guido, yeah, but Top Rank have looked after him. They're flying him home very nicely. I think he's got to go via Greece. But Guido deserves some time off. He's not seen his family since Christmas, so Guido was upset. But Guido's a professional, mate, so he's going to go home. He's going to have some fun. He's going to eat loads of pasta, fill himself up with carbs, and then he's going to get back to it again in I'd say late August, fly home again in late August.
We know you had some sparring there with Martin Piccoli and Joe Joyce. Martin's going to face Sergey Kuzmin. Yeah. What are your thoughts on that fight?
It's a very, very good fight, but from what I've seen of Kuzmin's not took what he had in the amateurs to the professionals. He looked better as an amateur, Kuzmin, and I think he's a 3-round fighter, Kuzmin. He's got 3 rounds to get Piccoli out of there, and believe me, Piccoli's got a good jaw on him, so I see Piccoli stopping him mid to late rounds.
And then the other fight which is on that same card, Whyte and Dillian recently leaving Mark Tibbs again. You know, how big of a difference do you think that could make an influence on that fight in preparations?
I respect Mark as a coach. He's a fantastic coach. He's brought Dillian on, but people have just always got to remember the boxers are the boss. Do you understand what I mean? If I'm doing not a great job, do you know what I mean? The boxers is a short career. They've got to be selfish, and if that was the right decision Dillian felt at the time, then so be it. He's got to get on with it, and I favour him to beat Povetkin.
Now on to Lerone. Obviously we did an interview with Umar Sadiq where Umar said, you know, Lerone was overweight, he wasn't fit, he wasn't healthy, hence why he wanted an extra few weeks to prepare for the fight, and also that Lerone didn't want to put his titles on the line in his bout. Can you just kind of expand on it all and just effectively reply to what Umar had said?
Well, it's nonsense, isn't it? It's just total nonsense. Lerone's got a baby due next week, which was the proposed date for him to fight Umar Sadiq. He's got to put 2 and 2 together. You don't fight on the same day your baby's due. Then the other proposed date was the week after. Lerone wants to spend a week with his baby, and then any time after that, we're ready to go. If you're too fat within the 2-week frame that Lerone said he can't fight, then you're going to be too fat for the 3rd week, aren't you? So Lerone's ready to go.
When do you think it is likely that we will see that fight then?
I don't know. I'm going to ask Frank today. I'm going to speak to Frank and then we'll find out. But Lerone's good. Lerone's been sparring. He's been doing countless rounds of sparring. He's been improving his skill set with Dave Colwell, plugging away. And as I say, he really is. He's ready to go.
Sam, we'll leave that there now. Then I will leave you to enjoy the rest of this beautiful weather. But thank you, Speakers Boxing Social.